Thanks for making a huge difference in so many people's lives. Today I want to talk to you about the 5 steps to financial freedom, but there's really two more steps, two bonus steps, two other things that we really want you to to really concentrate. And that's how you create wealth. And these are the steps that I've used. These are the steps that successful people use. The one thing that if you study people that have been successful, you'll notice they all do pretty much the same steps. And so that's why it's so important that we talk about this. And so the 5 steps are perfect. That's going to help you on your way to becoming financially free. But there's two more steps that we want you to put extra energy into if you really want to be wealthy. And if you want to be wealthy and be able to give back and help out those in need, this is really where you can just 10x it. Our goal is to 10x it, to get it up there and to multiply it. So the 5 steps to financial freedom, and 7 steps to wealth. So the first thing is that in the books that we've got, we really concentrate on those 5 steps. And so those books are free. You're welcome to go to the successmoneyfoundation.org and get those and read them online. You can order them from Amazon for nonprofit pricing. We're able to really bring the price down because we're a nonprofit. And the book, there's 2 sections, and we just redid the easy book. So the way you get started, there's 2 ways to do it. One is to go through the 5 easy steps to financial freedom. Now, the difference is that this one is black and white, and it has 103 illustrations. It's 161 pages. It's very similar to the color version. The difference is the color is quite a bit more expensive, but still it's only $10. And so if you want the bigger one, to order it from Amazon, you're welcome to, but you can go to the website and go through these as well. So if you want to be successful, this is all the materials right here. This is where you get started. Now, on top of that, we need to talk about success. How do you learn from successful people? Well, the book is called Success and Money, 3 books in 1. And that includes the 5 simple steps, the 35 book summaries, as well as the 150 quotes. In addition to that, we have the expanded version, which has the 5 steps, the 101 book summaries, and 501 quotes. And those are all on the website. They're free. You're welcome to download them or use them. But simply go to the successmoneyfoundation.org, then go to number 2, courses. It's nice if you're logged in. You can find stuff easier that way. And then go down to number 12, which is the free books, teacher, parent, tools, downloads, and quotes. So those are there. Now, while I'm here, I want to let you know that the books are right there, the downloads are right there, but there's also free teaching tools. Many of you have a small class that you want to teach this yourself. And so you can go to the free teaching tools and the slides that we've created that you can literally pull out your computer and go slide by slide, and you can teach this to your family. You can teach this to your church group. You can teach this to your school. And all those slides are there so that you can teach it yourself. So I'll teach it, you'll teach it. We don't really care who teaches as long as it gets taught. Now, I want to go into a little more detail because sometimes people are getting a little bit confused on the 5 and 7 steps. And so, and again, this is the key. If you do this one thing, it's going to make a huge difference in your life. And I want to give you kind of an overview where you can find these wonderful materials on the website. And it all follows the 5 steps and the 7 steps. 5 steps to freedom, 7 steps to wealth. So step number 1, most of us have a job. You need to have, most people, that's all they do is they have a job. Now, you need to learn how to make more money, just flat out. Number 1 is to make more money, but you got to make more money. The governments of the world can't balance their budgets. They're spending too much money. That's why we have inflation. They can't balance their budget. So what do? They borrow more money. Now, when they borrow more money or they print more money, what it does, it causes inflation. And if you own assets, we call it appreciation because we appreciate it because my assets have grown in value. But if you don't, you're getting crushed. So the number 1 is you've got to learn how to make more money at your job. And the key to that is to study successful people. So you can go to the site and go to all the courses, and there's some classes on how to make more money with your job, how to get a raise. Your goal is to solve some bigger problems and then get a raise. Now, if you don't get a raise, go find somebody that will give you that money, okay? Solve as many problems as you can, and it might be appropriate for you to find a different job, which is great because that's all part of your progression. But there's all kinds of classes on how to make money with your job. The second one is many of you have small businesses. So as we get started, you want to have a small business on the side. And eventually in step 6, we're going to make them large businesses. We're going to really make them grow and scale them. But you need some small businesses. And the one class that I really recommend you all get started on is going through Steve Gibson's Creating Family Prosperity book. He and his wife, Betty, delightful, wonderful people, created the Academy for Creating Enterprise. And they have students all over the world that they teach in a face-to-face, toe-to-toe manner. And we love his materials. He's let us use the book, and we have a whole class, the 25 Ways to Make More Money with Your Small Business. You all need to start launching these little businesses. Step 6, we're going to make them grow. We're going to make them scale. We're going to make them really do well. But that's the first place you're going to start. Now, in all things that you're going to do, there's 3 things you're going to do in every step. Number 1, you're going to study successful people. You study successful people, and then you do what they do. Study successful people and do what they do. Do not reinvent the wheel. Read about them, study them, ask them questions. You're going to find that the very successful people want to help because they know that the only way they get what they want is to help other people get what they want. Okay? It's very simple. So you need to study successful people. You need to study and solve bigger problems. Now, you may not know how to solve the problem, but you know there's a problem. Your goal is to connect people together that can come in and solve those problems. That's what really successful people do. My goal was a connector. I would find a problem, and then I would go find people that knew how to solve the problem. I'd get the 2 together, and then I'd get out of the way and let them go do it. And you got to add value. You got to be more valuable than the next guy. I've had all kinds of big companies. I've had thousands of employees in my lifetime. And when the market changes and you have to right size the business, you might have too many employees or whatever. I'll tell you what, the first thing we do is we just look at the valuable people. Who's the most valuable? And those are the ones we keep. The ones that aren't valuable are the ones that go. Study successful people, solve bigger problems, and add more value. You've got to learn how to make more money. Now, in the courses, we have all kinds of wonderful classes where you can do that. We have all kinds of success and motivation classes. Now, you can find a lot of these on YouTube. Some of these courses are ones that have been donated to us. Some are just on YouTube that we give you credit for when you go through. The great thing about YouTube is that there's thousands and thousands of videos. The bad thing is that there's 99% of them are junk. They're crap. So we've found the best ones, and then we want to point you to those. And we study successful people: Buffett, Tony Robbins, Dave Ramsey, Elon Musk, Robert Kiyosaki, Bill Gates, Buffett, all these guys. We study them and then do what they do. Okay. Now, we also have some wonderful classes that you can go through. The Millionaire Psychology by Kurt Mortensen. Robert Allen had some wonderful materials about Empower Yourself, and the Inner Success and Wealth program that he's done that are just wonderful. And people paid a lot of money for these. But as a legacy program, Bob and Kurt and everyone else are part of the foundation. They are supporting us. And so that's why they're allowing us to use these wonderful materials. Now, step number 2 is you need to separate your money. You need to put your money on a mission. You need to let your money go where you want it to go. You need to put it on a plan. So we need to separate it. We need to plan it. We need to show where it needs to go. And there's 3 places you're going to put it. Number 1, you need to give some away. You need to give some away to individuals, churches, charities. I don't care who you give it to. Just make a difference in someone's life. That's step number 3. It's a spiritual law, but it's also a business law. Now, number 4 is the most important piece. Actually, I don't care how much money you make, and I don't care where you spend it. All I care about is how much money did you get into step number 4? Are you automatically investing it? Are you getting it out there and working for you? This is the key thing. And every adult I've talked to, they all agree the one thing that they wish they would have done was to have started at an earlier age. That's why it's so important that we get this up and going. Okay. Now, when you automatically invest, there's 2 ways to do it. Number 1, you can get a regular investment account. It's just a regular investment account. The only difference between an investment account and a savings account or a checking account is when you open up a checking account at the bank, guess what? You're loaning money to the bank. And the only thing you can invest in is a long-term bond. You can loan them money. Now, the banks aren't going to pay you anything. That's not what they do. And if they do hold it up for a 60 or 90 day on a little better term, if you get the money faster, they're going to nail you on it. So you can't really make a lot. You can't make money by putting your money in the bank. You've got to get it over into an investment account. GoTrade there's 150 countries that GoTrade's in. Robinhood, Fidelity, Schwab, it doesn't matter who you do it with. There's a lot of similarities in them. but you have to have an investment account. Now, there's two kinds of investment accounts. There's just a regular investment account, and then there's a retirement account. Now, the governments of the world have different names for these, but many governments around the world want to encourage you to start investing. So they're going to give you some tax breaks for doing that. Now, if you just have your money over into a normal investment account, which is terrific, and you get taxed on that as you make money, okay, that's all great. No problem with that. But a retirement account, the governments around the world say, hey, you know what? We want you to save. We don't want to have to take care of you as well as everybody else. So in America, if you open up a Roth IRA, and Roth was named after a congressman, Congressman Roth, and they just named it after him. And you don't get any tax breaks today, but guess what? Everything you ever put into it, you never have to pay any taxes on it. You never have to pay any taxes on it. And people say, well, what if I need the money? Well, you can take the money out that you put in, okay, and not have to pay any taxes on it. I mean, you can just get that money back out if you want. We don't recommend it. We recommend you put the money in and leave it. You're planting a money tree. We don't want to pull up our money trees unless we have to. And we don't want to do that because we'll find another way to do it because we solve big problems. And so the retirement accounts, you can do a regular Roth one where you don't get a tax break today, but you never ever pay taxes on any of it. A regular individual retirement account, you get a little bit of tax break today, but guess what? When you pull the money out, you got to pay taxes on it, and you got to pay it at the highest rates. So the first thing is we want to put as much money as we can in that Roth. And then, of course, there's a 401k. 401k is very similar. The only difference is that's where employers usually match whatever you put in. So if you've got a job and they encourage you to do that, you can open a 401k or whatever it is in your country, and the employer puts some in and you put some in. The beautiful thing about that is you get 100% match on whatever percent. They might say, you know, we'll match up to 3% of your salary or 6% of your salary or something like that, but you have to put the money in first. And the beautiful thing about that is you doubled your money right from the get-go because they're matching it. You get a tax break today, but you got to pay tax on all of it. So first thing, fund your Roth, then fund, if somebody's giving you a 401k, put money into that, and as well as your IRA. Now, the big question is asset allocation. This is where we want to make this so simple. So simple. Asset allocation is just basically all of your assets and where are they? Where are your assets? We have some in stock. We have some in real estate. We have some in bonds. We have some in crypto. That's your asset allocation. If you take 100% of something, 15% of it's here, 10% of it's here, you know, whatever it is. That's how you're allocating. And you get to choose where you put that money. And stocks go up and down. Real estate goes up and down in value because of supply and demand. Supply and demand. You have so much supply and you have so much demand. And if you have a lot of demand for something and not much supply, so a lot of people want it, but there's not much of it, it's going to go up. People are going to charge more money for it. But if there's a whole bunch of something and nobody wants it, then the prices come down. So that's why you see the fluctuation with different things. Now, when you do your asset allocation, you take 100% of the money that you got. Where is it? Well, some of it's in my house. This is, you know, you say that I'm worth, you know, we'll just use 100,000 because that's an easy number. You take 100,000, you say, well, 30,000 of it is in my stock. So 30% is in your stock. You know, 50% of my net worth is in my house. So 50% of your asset allocation is in your home, you know, and then whatever else the rest of it is. Now, when you do your asset allocation, you're either going to loan or you're going to own. You're either going to loan money to somebody or you're going to own something. You're either going to loan money in your savings account, your checking account. You're loaning money. You're getting a lousy return on your investment, but you're loaning money. You can loan money to governments. You can do that with a treasury. You can loan money to corporations and schools. You can loan money, and guess what? That money's straight. Hey, I'm going to get a 5% rate of return. So it's like getting on the merry-go-round. It's just going to go round and round. It's going to give you, there's no ups and downs to it. Hey, you put in $100 at the end of the year, we're going to give you, if it's 5% rate of return, you're going to make $5 on it. It's just solid. And as you get older and you want to get off the roller coaster, you can do that. You just put more into bonds. Now, the stocks, though, the own part, what are you going to own? Well, you can own real estate, and all of you need to buy more real estate. That's one of the real key factors because it keeps up with inflation. We appreciate it. Part of the $3 million we put in the foundation came from real estate and from Warren Buffett stock. And so you're going to own things. I'm going to own little parts of companies. That's a stock. You're going to own a little part of 500 of the biggest companies in America. You're going to own real estate. You're going to own crypto. Whatever that is, that's all part of the own side. So bonds are loans and stocks are things that you can own. So you're going to loan or own. So that's the asset allocation and the loan versus own side. Now, the next part is the stock market. A lot of people get so confused on the stock market of what they're going to do because guess what? The media of the world, the TV stations, the radio stations, they want you to listen. So what are they doing? They're telling you stuff that you shouldn't be even listening to. The Dow Jones went up 38, 380 points today, or the S&P 500 went down 700 points. Guess what? That we don't care what that number is. We care what the percentage is. If they said the Dow went up 1% today, well, nobody would be paying attention to that because it's not sensational. So they want you to watch, but the key is that we want to teach you the 4 ways to do it. Now, when we talk about investing, your goal was you're going to see when we get into step 6 and 7, your goal is to add more stuff. But the simple, quickest, fastest way to get started is to get that investment account. When I was a kid, I was a 14-year-old kid. My dad helped me open up an investment account and we started investing in companies. And I honestly can't tell you if I made money or not. It didn't matter because what it did was it planted that seed and I became an investor. When I made my first $100, my dad told me I was $100 heir. You don't need to be a millionaire. When you get your first $10, you're a $10 heir or a $5 heir, and then a $100 heir, $1,000 heir. That's your goal, is to become an heir. Okay. Now in the stock market, there's 4 ways that you can do things. And again, we just want you to get started. We don't spend our time in the stock market. We don't spend a lot of time in that. We spend time in number 1, make more money. Make more money. And in step 6, I'm going to show you in just a second. So in the stock market, you can pick and choose, which means you get to pick and choose the stocks. You get up in the morning, you watch the stock, and you're betting on a horse, and you're hoping that goes up, and then you hope you can sell it before the horse gets to the end of the race. Okay, you're picking and choosing. You're going to the track. You're throwing the dice. You're speculating. And very few people are good at it. There's a few people that are good at it, but not very many. The problem with picking and choosing is that when you pick and choose, you lose. So we don't really want to do that. We don't have time for that. We only got so much brain power and so much energy, and we want to do that making more money. We want this to be more passive. So you can pick and choose, number 1. Number 2 is you can do mutual funds. A mutual fund is where you're hiring a professional to manage it for you. And they pick and choose. The only negative to that is that there's a fee. And that's the fee. You probably won't ever see it until you dig deep into the small print, and they give you a crap load of small print so you don't ever see it. But usually it's anywhere from 1% to 2% that they're going to take. And if you made a 6% rate of return and they take 2 of it, well, they just took 33% of your profit, which is not very good. Mutual fund, that's number 2. Number 3 is the S&P 500, the 500 largest companies in America, which are global. 500 biggest companies in America. We took a helicopter up around the base camp of Mount Everest, and then it landed at a monastery right below. By the monastery was a hotel and a little cafe and an internet cafe that had this big old satellite. And guess what? They had Coca-Cola there. You could buy a Coca-Cola up at this right below the base camp of Everest. They're everywhere. And Coca-Cola, for example, has hundreds of brands. They're just not one. They've got hundreds and hundreds of brands. Dasani water, they got all kinds of brands. And so, but the S&P 500 are the 500 largest. They're the biggest. They're just the biggest, and they're all over the world. So that's the S&P 500. And then one of my favorites is Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway is a stock. It's a stock, just like Apple, just like Nike, just like McDonald's. But the difference is it's a massive insurance company, and that insurance company brings in premiums on a weekly, monthly basis, and they bring premiums in. And guess what? They don't have accidents every week. They don't have accidents every month. If you're on a car insurance, you may not have an accident for 3 or 4 or 5 years, maybe 10 years. But guess what? They take that money, they make a profit on it, but then they take that money and invest it. Hundreds of billions of dollars that they've got, that they have no cost on, that they get all this money and they get to go invest it. So we love Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, and that's why we call it Buffett Bucks, because it was named after him. My dad is 4 days older than Warren Buffett. I had a mini Warren Buffett that taught me about money. Now, my dad didn't put the zeros on like Buffett did. My dad was not Well, he did very well. He started with nothing. My mom and dad started with nothing. They didn't even have two nickels to rub together. They were born in 1930, which is the same time that Warren Buffett was born, and they started with nothing. But they grew a family and they grew their wealth and they passed that down to the next generation. They made a huge difference in people's lives. So Berkshire Hathaway is the other one that we're going to talk about. Now, when you talk about asset allocation, you get to pick and choose of those four where you want to put that money. Now, if it's my money I'm giving you, I'm going to ask you to put it into Berkshire Hathaway and the S&P 500. But you can also put some into Musk. You can put some into, I own Tesla, I own McDonald's, I own some of these other companies as well. But just don't get obsessed with playing the game. Supply and demand. Supply and demand makes stuff go up or down in value. But over a long period of time, the market has gone up. A couple of reasons. The biggest reason is the governments of the world can't balance their budget, so they're printing more money. So what goes up in value appreciates because of inflation. Real estate is more expensive. You go back 10 years ago. Gosh, you go back 5 years ago. And real estate, and today you're going, there's no way it can get any more expensive. Well, that's not true. It surely can, and it will, because you just go back over time. The one thing you need more than anything else in your life, from a business point of view or anything else, is the ability to predict the future. How do you predict the future? How do you predict the future? You study the past. You study the past. And when you study the past, you can predict the future. Now, if I can only have one thing in my business or in my stock or anything else, is the ability to predict the future. And you learn how to predict the future by studying the past. So now of these four things, we don't pick and choose. Now, you can pick and choose a little bit of your whole assets. If you want to pick and choose, do some of that. Just don't spend all day watching the TV. If the stock's going up, the stock's going down, I'm going to bet if it goes up, or I'm going to bet that it goes down. You don't have time. You don't have the energy. You need to put your money, time, and energy in to make more money. Okay. And most of the time we don't do mutual funds. Why? Because the fees are higher. Now, there are small fees when you do the S&P 500, but it's a very, very small amount. It's like 0.5%, because they're not making decisions. They're not picking and choosing. They're just saying, hey, these are the 500 biggest companies, and you can invest in the S&P 500. And the fee is very small. Whereas a mutual fund could be 1% to 2%, the S&P might be 0.5%. Now, Berkshire Hathaway, we like Berkshire Hathaway so much because guess what? There's a small commission when you buy it. Then there's no money under management. There's no yearly fees to go with it. So if they all made the same amount, they all made 6%, for example, well, you get to keep all 6% with Buffett. You'll get 5.5% of it with the S&P, and you'll only get 4% of it with a mutual fund. So over time, the S&P 500 and Buffett are the two that we recommend that you do. Now, again, if you want to pick and choose some of it, you can do that because it's fun. But just remember, you've only got so much time and so much energy. Now, that takes us through those steps. There are some wonderful classes to make more money by Warren Buffett that you can go through. There's a wonderful book that our friend Robert Miles wrote called The 101 Reasons to Invest in the World's Greatest Investment. But there's great classes on Buffett right there. Now, step number five is to save and spend. You got to save and spend. Now, when you save and spend, everybody says, well, you need 6 months of an emergency fund. You don't. You need about 30 days. Guess what? We're going to put the rest of that money. We're going to get the rest of that money working for us. There's no reason why you put 6 months of your money into a savings account that makes you nothing. Just sell your stock if you need the money. But guess what? You're going to figure out how to do it. Most people don't go in and use their emergency fund. You're going to save and spend. Now, save and spend, there are 5 steps. Make more money, separate it, give it, invest it, and spend it. And there is a program that we have in the courses to the free downloads, which is how to manage your money on one piece of paper. Now, we're not doing tax returns. We're just pacing ourselves with our money. And so this is a little system, and it all fits on one piece of paper. I teach you how to do it, and it's how you and your spouse and your family can get on the same page and be able to make it work. The big one where people get into trouble is the spend. You got fixed expenses and you got variable expenses, and we have this fun little system that you can use, and everybody, the husband and wife can use it, and the whole families can use it. So that's the save and spend side of it. Okay. Now, number 6. Now, number six and number seven are really incorporated into the five steps, but I want to put it out by itself so you can really understand that the first five things you're doing there are really your small business and your job. Okay. That's how most people get started. You're just going to start futzing around with small businesses, but as you go on, this is not a overnight thing. This is a lifestyle. This is if you want to be successful, you do what successful people do, and this is what they do. Step six, which is the bonus steps, you can how to create multiple streams of income. You need to take your small businesses and make them big businesses. Okay. So multiple streams of income. Now, Robert Allen is a wonderful mentor of mine, great friend of mine, worked with him for decades, helping to promote his wonderful material. And there's a course, there's a multiple streams of income course, and there's a multiple streams of income class. And both those you can have access to. You can have access to the multiple streams of income book. And this is where I recommend that you go to learn more to get really into the multiple streams of income, because that really is working on step number six. Step number six, you got to take your small business and make them a big business. You need to scale them. You need to grow them. You need to simplify and multiply. Everybody thinks that they create complexity. Complexity kills businesses. You want to make this as simple as possible, simplify and then multiply, simplify and multiply. Your goal is to take your small businesses and turn them into big businesses. Your goal is to scale them, take them from where they are and to double, triple them. You know what? It's not any harder to run a business that is 10 times bigger than a company that is only 1 times the size, because you have systems. Now, if you're going to create your businesses, and my businesses have done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions, the businesses that I've created, businesses that I've co-founded, the businesses that I've done joint ventures with, that I've been around, that I've worked with, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of gross sales. So this is where I know how to do all this. So you want to create your small businesses, get them into big businesses. Now, how do you do that? Again, you go through Steve Gibson's class. You start with the basics. You start with the basics and you go through the 5 steps book, because I give you the basics. Then you really get into Steve Gibson stuff, the 25 ways to make more money with your business. Simplify and multiply, simplify and multiply, simplify and multiply. And then after that, I want you to go through a couple other courses. I want you to go through Michael Gerber's The Entrepreneurial Myth. Michael Gerber trained me when I was in my late 20s. I had 2 partners, and I was the youngest of the partners. But I had a lot of experience in managing and creating entrepreneurial businesses. And we hired Michael Gerber, and he trained me. He trained me personally, and he flew down to San Diego, and he worked with me and my team to take our business. And by simplifying and creating systems, we took our business from $7 million that year to $35 million. And we just 5x'd it because of the simplicity of how we simplified and then multiplied. The other one is my good friend Jay Abraham. Jay Abraham's a marketing genius, and we paid him a lot of money to work on our business because he made us more money. And so these are 2 great classes that I recommend that you jump into to learn how to scale your business. That's after you go through Steve Gibson's class. The other one is you got to learn how to sell. You need to learn how to sell. All selling is solving problems. All selling is solving problems. Okay, we're just solving problems. That's what sales is. The guy who said he's such a good salesman, he could sell ice cubes to Eskimos is an idiot. A good salesman would sell an Eskimo a heater. And if you're selling the right product, you can do that. So we've got some great classes on there. We've got the SAM School, Success and Money is what that's for. Kurt's done a great one on that one. We also have techniques that you can use. You got to sell. Now, sell's not a bad word. Sell is solving. Selling is solving. Selling is solving. You're solving problems. And if you can add more value than the next guy, then you'll get the sale. And that's how you make things work. So there's some great classes on that one as well. Some of you are doing direct sales or network marketing. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of terrible about network marketing. And the key is study successful people. 99% of them fail. Why? Because they don't do it the right way. Can you make a lot of money in network marketing? Yes, you can. I failed miserably at it 2 times. And the 3rd time, I told my enroller, my friend, that if I can't figure it out the 3rd time, because she was doing it and she was really successful, I can't figure it out this time, I'm never going to talk to you again. Um, the key to network marketing is you got to enroll 100 to 200 people. And then you got to teach them how to make money and you got to teach them how to use the products. And if you'll do that, you'll be successful. Direct selling and network marketing doesn't require money, but it requires your time and energy. Okay. You can either use cash and money and capital, or you can use time and energy and sweat money. Those are the two things, or you can use them both. But direct selling, multi-level marketing doesn't take much money, but it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of perseverance. And you got to do this for a long period of time. But if you do, it'll make you a lot of money. After I had my heart attack when I was 34 years of age, I got involved with a network marketing company for the products. And I was on the products for quite a while before I really figured out you could do this as a business. And I wanted to create streams of income to take care of my special needs children. And so I started telling other people about it, and I became very successful in direct selling and network marketing. But I enrolled 100, I enrolled 256 people, and my people, as a group, we enrolled 2,000 people because it's a great product. With network marketing, there's four ways to win. One, if all you do was get on the product and it helped change your life and change your health, that's a win. If you can make number two, if you can make a little bit of money and offset your costs, that's a win. Number three, if you can make an extra chunk of money, put that money away into step number 7, which is the wealth formula, that's great. Or you can go nuts. You can go nuts and make a whole bunch of money, which is what we did. And we made millions and millions and millions, millions of dollars with network marketing. But I did it the right way. 99% of them do it wrong. You got to learn how to do it right. Okay. Many of you need to make money with your small business with the internet. The internet changed the world. Right now, we're talking to people all over the world, and I'm doing it from my office. I'm looking out at my beautiful mountain. And when I'm all done, I'm going to go up and spend some time with my wife and family, and I'm going to help get my son off to his program. The internet changed the world. We're talking to people all over the world by the use of that phone. You need to learn how to do that. And we have some STEM classes, and there's all kinds of wonderful classes that you can get through that you can learn from. And there's next step resources on the foundation. Our goal is, once you get you going, is to get you your next step. So there's some introductory classes. You can go to code.org to go through more classes. You can go to other online schools or in-person schools and go spend 12 to 14 weeks. Our wizards, Jacob and Ethan, they went to a school, Deb Mountain, for about 14 weeks, and they learned really how to be able to program and use the computer. And we're a wonderful team. They are incredibly smart at doing that. My job is to take all this energy and all this experience I've got in my head and get it out of my head and get it out there to the world. And they went to school to learn how to be able to do that. And so they take my ideas and they run them out there, and it gets available to you all over the world. Joshua, incredible on his all the books we've done. I couldn't have created those books without Josh and Ethan and Jacob. It just wouldn't have happened. So I got all this great information in my head, but I got to get that out and get it out so that it gets out around the world. So you should be studying STEM classes, because the internet's not going away, technology's not going away, and all of you need to be able to do that. Okay, that gets you down to the second side of multiple streams of income. Real estate. All of you need to start doing real estate. You need to make more money. Okay, you need to make more money. You need to make more money. You can do that with your small business to a business and real estate. Everybody has to have a place to live. You have a place to live. You might as well learn how to make money with that. And there's two things you can do with that. You can either fix and flip, or you can farm it. Okay, so you can flip it. You can find a property, turn around, sell it, and make a profit on it. And you can do that when you start building up your capital. So you're getting started. I need a little extra capital. And so you flip some of the properties until you find one you want to keep. And then you farm it, which means you rent it out. And each month you bring in income, and then you got some expenses. Now, the beautiful thing about that is over time, it's going to go up in value. Why? Because of inflation. If we own stuff, we appreciate it. And I had millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate. And when I turned 60, I could go create another big business, or I could create the foundation. And I, talking to my wife, I knew that I only had, I don't know how many years I got left on this earth. It was 30 years ago when I had this heart attack, and I'm lucky that I'm even here. So I've been blessed that I'm here. I was able to take care and make enough money to take care of my kids and stuff like that. Special needs kids are all set. But but I did a lot of that with real estate. And it's probably one things that every one of you should be doing. Everyone, should be owning your own home, but more importantly, you need to own rentals, and you need to find properties that you can fix up and flip. You can make more money faster, quicker on that than just about anything. And so fix and flip, where do you learn that stuff? Well, there's a whole course, The Road to Wealth. The Road to Wealth is a true story about how Robert Allen and I assisted him. I was just a young investor when we started doing this. And we went to an unemployment line in St. Louis. We were challenged by a major newspaper to prove that anybody could be successful if they had the right information. And we took three people out of an unemployment line. We taught them for 2 days. I coached them over the phone. And 90 days later, they made $5,000. Now, $5,000 was a lot of money when we did this. And it's the true story of what they went through. Now, the money is not the important thing. The strategy is the important thing. So you've got that one. You've got the Real Estate Launch, which is a wonderful program that Bob's letting us use. And the How to Wake Up the Financial Genius. This is the first organized book I ever read on real estate. And this guy, Mark Harrelson, owned the apartment complex. I was going to school up in Rexburg, Idaho, of all places. I had a scholarship there. And he owned the apartment complex I was living in. And he brought a case of books up there and left in the office. I had to go in the office for some reason. And there's this guy playing ping pong with these other students. Like an idiot, I didn't go introduce myself to him, but I went in the office and, hey, this guy's giving away books. Would you like one? Like, wow, and it was the first real estate, and he just gave it to me. So I read the first book, and it was the first organized way. My dad taught me about real estate when I was younger, but this was a book, an organized way to think about it. And, they say that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Well, I was ready. As I was going to college, and I started learning about real estate. I started talking to my professors that owned real estate. My economics professor, the greatest thing I ever learned from him was not economics. He owned real estate. And so I sat down with him and he taught me about his real estate. That was part of the project. So I highly recommend you go through those books. They're wonderful. Now that takes us through step number 7. That takes you really through number 7. You got to get your small businesses into big businesses. You got to get into real estate. You got to spend your time and energy making more money. And number 1 and number 6. Number 7, you've heard this over and over again, but as you start to automatically invest, you're doing the wealth formula. And this is the wealth formula. Monthly. You need to put money away monthly into your wealth formula, into your automatically invest. You do that, times have it go up in value. Your money sitting in your savings account is not making you any money. Okay. The bank's making money off of you. So stop that. Forget the bank. Your job is to make money for you. Your money's got to make money for you. If you can't figure out how to make money while you sleep, you'll be working the rest of your life. You've got to have it go up in value. You've got to increase that in value. Times time. You can do this over a period of time. This is not a get rich quick. This is a long-term wealth formula. And it's a simple formula. And you look at the successful people, this is what they do. And they do it over time. When I meet with these big investment conferences, their question is the rule of 72. How long does it take for you to double my investment? Now, it's not this get rich quick crap. We're not, if you go to somebody and say, I'm going to double your money in 30 days, well, probably you're going to lose it all. It takes time. It takes years for them to double it. But, if you have something that's going up 12% a year, it only takes 6 years for you to double it. If it's going up 3%, then it takes 24 years. But if you own real estate and you don't have much money involved in it, and it doubles every 24 years, or every 6 years, which it's done over the last 6 years here, that real estate's worth a lot of money, and you don't have a lot of your own capital into it. But you got to do it over time. And then the goal is to be able to hand this to the next generation. But that equals wealth. That is the steps. Monthly. Times increase in value. It's got to go up. You can't leave your money in a stupid savings account making you nothing. And you got to do it over time. You are building a whole orchard of money trees. That tree, as it grows tall, the roots are growing down. When the wind blows, it's not going to blow over my trees. Okay. And I don't have just one tree. I got a whole orchard of trees. I've got multiple orchards of trees, and the very wealthy, that's what they have. They have a whole orchard of money trees. That equals wealth. This is the plan. This is the game plan. This is how you're going to get there. Now, once you finish that, some of you want to get into more detail into investing. My good friend James Fletcher has another nonprofit, Young Investor Society, where he works with students all over the world. He's in 2,000 schools, and there's all kinds of personal finance lessons, there's investment lessons, and there's advanced investment. So many of you want to get involved with and learn those things. I highly recommend it. I'm still learning. I still do all that stuff, but that's kind of the key of where you're going to go. So in closing, there's 3 ways you can earn financial rewards from the foundation, but the real thing is learning. You're attending online classes and you're learning. You're attending online classes and you're learning. You're always learning. You're going to learn, earn, and return your whole life. You keep learning. It's compounding. Warren Buffett says that knowledge is like compound interest. It's compounding knowledge. And it's not so much the knowledge, it's the experience. You got to go do things. You got to go do things. You flip the coin. You win, you lose, it doesn't matter. If I told you you needed to get me 50 heads, you need to flip a coin till you get 50 heads. If you flip it 5 times and get 5 tails, you're discouraged and say, this isn't going to work. Well, of course it's going to work. You just need to keep flipping. Keep flipping, keep flipping. Over 100 flips, most likely you'll get there. Okay, might take you 120 if it's really a crazy time, or it might take you 80 or 90. Just doesn't matter. But if you did it 1,000 times, you'll get it 50%. If you did it 1,000,000 times, it'll be 50% right on. You got to attend online classes. You got to get into class. Our goal is to get 1,000,000 hours, and we're at 15% right there, right now. We're at 15%, and my goal is to get you 1,000,000. My goal is to get 100,000 students. We're about 13%. We're on our way. Number 2, you got to give away free memberships. You give free memberships, and most importantly, you get them to start with the Share the Wealth and Win video. Get them going to class. When they do that, they make some money, some money for their investment account, and you make some money for their investment account. But they got to watch that first video. Okay, that's the key. And then you come to class. Come to class. We're doing all kinds of classes. You can watch us on Zoom, and you can be here live. You can go to Facebook and go to search Success and Money Academy. Watch the live one there. You can watch us on replays on YouTube. We're doing 2 to 4, and this week we'll even do more of that, at least 4 hours of live classes every week, because we have so much information to teach you. So that's the 3 ways that you can earn some financial rewards from it. You don't need us. The key is to start going to class and learn. And when you do that, you ever get lost, go home. You don't know where to start, go back to start. Number 1, go to home and start. It's in the menu, top left-hand corner. Go to worldwide, number 2, or if United States, go to number 3, because the currencies are different and some of the things are a little bit different. So just start worldwide and go through the classes. Just go through them in order, and that will help you. So you got to learn, earn, and return. That's crucial. That's key. You're always going to do that. You want the wealth formula? That's it. You want to learn how to be successful? That's it. You study successful people, and they're learning, earning, and returning. Now, some of us are a little older. I'm 65. Can't believe that happened. I'm in the return mode. My job is to get rid of this money. My job is to get it down to the next level. My job is that when I die, because I don't think they're going to fill up the hearse with all the cash I got. I think they're going to, I don't think I get to take it with me. Guess what I get to take? I get to take the pictures. I get to take the pictures. They say when you die, you pull out, all your life passes before your eyes. You see your whole life pass before your eyes. Well, guess what? It's like pulling out your phone, and you get to look at your pictures. So your picture's good, then you lived a good life. If they're bad, you didn't live a good life. The Walton family, Helen Walton, says it's not what you gather in life, it's what you scatter in life. It's not what you gather, it's what you scatter in life that tells the life you lived and the person that you were. Your job is to learn, earn, and return. Your job is to make a difference. Make it happen. People think about it, but just go do it. Do something, even if it's okay. Do something, even if it just moves you closer. Just do something. Make it happen. Little steps. I don't care if you fall back 3 steps. I don't really care. It's a journey. It's not a destination. The journey is the reward. Remember that every life is precious. You're a spiritual being having a physical body, a physical experience, but you're a spiritual being. And your brothers and sisters you see on the street, guess what? They're just like you. They've got a spirit. They've got a soul. They have feelings. They have hurts. They have hunger. They have whatever it is. They're just like you. Your job is to help them. The only way to get what you want out of life is to help other people get what they want out of life. That's it. That's the 7 steps. So do the 5 steps, and then let's do those 2 bonus steps. Let's get that multiple streams of income going. Let's make our small businesses into big businesses. Let's take our real estate and really start buying a lot more of that. Getting investing, let appreciation help us out. And then wealth formula, monthly. Every time you make money, it's got to go into your investment accounts. It's got to go into your long-term stuff. Times have a go up in value. It can't just be making nothing. You got to get it working for you. Time's time. This takes time. If you want to build a strong orchard of money trees, if you want to just go cut down a tree and make some quick money, that's different. But that's not what we're doing. We're building a formula. We're building orchards. We love to farm our fruit. Time's time. That equals wealth. This has been Tom Painter. Thank you so much for watching. Make a difference. Make it happen. Every life is precious.